Today, our topic is the Stoic approach to handling regret. Regret is something we all feel at some point in our lives. It's that heavy feeling in your chest when you think about something you did or didn't do, something you said or didn't say. It's a natural part of being human, but it can also be a source of great pain if we don't know how to handle it. The ancient Stoics, philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, had a lot to say about regret. They believed that regret doesn't have to control us or make us suffer. Instead, we can use it as a tool for growth and self-improvement. Let's explore how. First, the Stoics teach us that regret comes from focusing on things we cannot change. When we regret something, we are usually looking back at the past and wishing it were different. But the past is fixed. It's done. No matter how much we wish we could go back and change it, we can't. The Stoics remind us that the only thing we have control over is the present moment. We can't change what happened yesterday, but we can choose how we respond to it today. This is a powerful idea. It shifts our focus from what we can't control to what we can. Instead of being stuck in regret, we can ask ourselves, what can I do now to make things better? Or what can I learn from this experience? One of the key principles of Stoicism is the idea of acceptance. This doesn't mean we have to like everything that happens to us, but it does mean we have to accept it. The past is what it is. We can't undo it, but we can accept it as part of our story. This acceptance frees us from the endless cycle of what if and if only. It allows us to move forward instead of being trapped in the past. The Stoics believe that suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. When we stop judging the past as bad or wrong, we take away its power to hurt us. Another important Stoic idea is that we should view everything that happens to us as an opportunity to practice virtue. Virtue, for the Stoics, means living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When we feel regret, it's often because we feel we failed in one of these areas. Maybe we acted foolishly, or we were cowardly, or we treated someone unfairly. The Stoics would say that instead of wallowing in regret, we should use it as a chance to grow. We can ask ourselves, what virtue did I fail to practice in this situation? And how can I do better next time? This shifts our focus from punishment to improvement. Regret becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. The Stoics also remind us that regret is often tied to our expectations. We regret things because they didn't turn out the way we wanted them to. But the Stoics teach us to let go of our attachment to specific outcomes. Life is unpredictable, and things rarely go exactly as planned. When we accept this, we can stop being so hard on ourselves when things don't work out. Instead of saying, I should have done better, we can say, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. This doesn't mean we don't take responsibility for our actions, but it does mean we give ourselves some grace. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics offer for handling regret is the practice of reflection. They believed in taking time each day to look back on our actions and thoughts. This isn't about beating ourselves up for our mistakes, but about learning from them. Seneca, for example, would end each day by asking himself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? This kind of reflection helps us become more aware of our choices and their consequences. It also helps us see patterns in our behavior so we can make better decisions in the future. Reflection turns regret into a constructive force rather than a destructive one. Another Stoic practice that can help with regret is the premeditation of adversity. This means imagining the worst-case scenario before it happens. It might sound negative, but it's actually a way to prepare ourselves for life's challenges. When we think about what could go wrong, we're less likely to be caught off guard when it does. And if we've already imagined the worst, we're less likely to feel regret when things don't go as planned. This practice helps us develop resilience and emotional strength. It also reminds us that setbacks and failures are part of life. They don't mean we've failed as human beings. They just mean we're human. The Stoics also teach us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. This is one of their most famous teachings, and it's especially relevant when it comes to regret. When we feel regret, it's often because we're focusing on things outside our control. Maybe we regret a decision we made, but that decision was based on the information we had at the time. We can't control the past, but we can control how we respond to it. We can choose to learn from our mistakes and move forward. We can choose to forgive ourselves and others. We can choose to focus on the present moment and what we can do to make things better. Forgiveness is another important part of the Stoic approach to regret. The Stoics believe that holding on to anger and resentment only hurts us. When we forgive ourselves and others, we free ourselves from the burden of regret. This doesn't mean we forget or condone harmful actions, but it does mean we let go of the emotional weight they carry. Forgiveness is a way of saying, I accept what happened, and I choose to move on. It's a powerful act of self-love and self-respect. Finally, the Stoics remind us that life is short and unpredictable. This might sound like a depressing thought, but it's actually a call to action. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to focus on what truly matters. We're less likely to waste time on regret, and more likely to take meaningful action. The Stoics believe that the purpose of life is to live virtuously, and to contribute to the well-being of others. When we focus on this, regret loses its hold on us. We realize that what matters most is not what we did or didn't do in the past, but how we choose to live in the present. In conclusion, regret is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to control us. The Stoic approach to handling regret is about acceptance, reflection, and growth. It's about shifting our focus from what we can't control to what we can. It's about using regret as a teacher rather than a tormentor. And it's about remembering that life is short, and that the best way to honor our past is to live well in the present. So the next time you feel regret, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And how can I do better next time? This is the Stoic way, and it's a path to peace, wisdom, and freedom.